Reading the signs. Why would reading the signs only work sometimes? Putting your finger to the wind, an ear to the ground, a subtle hint that something is looking in your direction. It is what the signs can't tell you, but Virgil can, as to the reason. For in your motions is an act against, and to gain the lubricant enough to move where you do, is a dance with the air. Where if your dance moves are so far off from the rhythm at hand, your motion will be impeded, for it is too different. Which is why the signs can only be read sometimes in regards toward telling you the appropriate act for the motion you desire, and why then it is hard to though move and know this while looking beyond the signs. Where then it is the act of difference that can give you motion, as you put another appendage into the air, knowing that you're not reading the air, but moving it, with an explanation at hand that explains your difference to the dead, for which who the signs are for, that then in your motion of difference, it is loved rather than ridiculed. For making love is what you are doing, which is why it is hard to see this, and still move in knowledge of it, while looking beyond the signs, but in still reading them enough to know the rhythm in which to dance. Where then, ironically, your motions then become as the dead, who wills the signs that then others follow as you kill the air. Though then in being ridiculously dry, what lubricant is then there for you to move, being then as the same in following, trying to be so different to move, that a never-ending sea surrounds you, and moves from you as you move, where the origination of the leaf and citrus work to block and gain light, the signs then like strings tying it all together, being then a place that can be revisited once having gone full circle, then becoming a ring, where to then run to the river is an act against this deity, for then in the motion of fresh water you are leaving behind the imaginary numbers, which are of the mess you were attracted to, enough that the longevity of your stay allowed an air to form out of imaginary numbers. This process of word art, then a continuance of the sharpening of the horizon between earth and water. There, though, what makes the ring something that is sound? For in the ring is then seen in earth, but heard in air? Where then how does one transfer earth to air that it has tone, that what it is has such an edge that someone can't help but want to break it, though it is sound? This is what causes the movement toward and away from the thing that makes it travel. For then what is this thing's sound once found, having form on its form? From where then what was said before is found on its form, and then this form finds in forms, like the marble that has deep space in its recess, for which is the shade, then people walking on its side in the light, where then the wood has trails and the wild, where how it's made is always how it was made, but what prompts its making is in its never having been before. The oil, and its safe ways of having not to ask, for then where it has to be, being where it's fluid, having come out of hiding to the stream, being then found again in the great story, from which all stories come and go back to, that black hole son of a dam, radiating atoms that have been turned into a sense, for which there are more than the senses, each a fish, with the story that gives light its own, staring with this LSD at the LCD. As Uncle Scrooge holds together the wood and cement, I look at the tension and don't break, but touch me, and watch as I walk into the water and take a breath like Persephone. Then raise up again, Gaia on my back, in a place of death with a cloud that rains sweetness. For what death is there? So why would I open up to anything but her comfort? As I picture this picture in my mind where I dive into the waters and look upon the Lord of the Rings as my mechanized, compact pillar of Saturn, and the Merry One, having then divorced myself from the collar, I feel the life around me begin to carry any message on a need-to-know basis. With the clay beneath my feet, I imagine the organismal amassment, Cthulhu, as a Leviathan, being a deep-sea monster manned diving vessel larger than any battleship. For being the one to hold up the ocean above it, 1.4 times 10 to the 17th tons, then imploding upon itself like when confronted on Star Trek, for which I see Frieza's ball growing out of the cataclysm as an attack on Namek, then transforming into the Archon found having reached the legacy of the void, rumbling with power overwhelming, as it consumes its own soul in the Nun, where thoughts move manifest. Having then gone on this run, I carry the volumes of stone that I've hewn by hand that no one has dug up, whereupon their digging apparatus halts upon touching my tone, for what are they digging? Who else has carved out structures such as I, whereupon every angle and path they invoke majesty? Having now said these things, and having raised the structure of the demands of the people, for then to gather and feel, it is time I put off everything written, that the people don't then tear it down like a giant scratching at his own legs, for he knows not they are his. In this light then of abysmal waveform echoing from each point's center, I then listen and do while being no more than dirt.